those of you that whom I haven't met, I think I've met several of you, but my name is Sergio Breña. I'm a professor in civil engineering here at the University of Massachusetts. So I'm continuing with the tour around the country from Hawaii, the Midwest, the South. Now we're in the Northeast. So we decided to title our studio "The Future of Precast Prestressed Concrete." And like I said, this is a studio that's in its infancy. It was a whirlwind last summer because we got awarded the studio, and I started developing the first of the two classes that I will describe for you that was first taught in the fall of 2022. I wanted to first recognize all of the participants that are part of our studio. Our PCI Northeast Rita Seradarians, our PCI contact, and we have several producers as well as a software, Ericsson Software is providing software for our students. We have consultants, and we have a variety of consultants both in the private sector, but also the public sector, Mass DOT. So I'll let you know what each of these persons or these participants' role is in the studio. So the idea was to develop because we didn't have a precast prestressed concrete design class here at UMass, we decided to develop a two-course sequence, beginning with a basic precast prestressed concrete class, which is the one that was initially taught last fall. It was the first time it was offered here at UMass. And the idea was to really make it as practical as possible, as many of you have already presented, by providing experiential learning opportunities to students through plant visits and interactive activities with industry people, and also participation with PCI folks through the PCI Big Beam competition. But realistically, having students have the experience of getting to know the industry and getting involved with it. The second course in the sequence is a prestressed bridge design course that I have adapted over the years. It was a general bridge design, but I'm going to be teaching it next fall, which focusing only in prestressed concrete bridge design. So same idea. And how these two courses fit in our curriculum, I teach in the spring semester each year, a basic undergraduate design of reinforced concrete structures, which will feed into these two courses. And not necessarily in sequence, but a student could then go take a design of reinforced concrete structures and go directly to the precast prestressed bridge design course through a very quick lecture series of the basics of precast prestressed concrete. So at the time we developed the proposal, I was expecting enrollment to be in the first course number 1, shown here on the slide. Of about 15 to 20 students. I'm happy to say that given our enrollment here at UMass, we were at 22 students, about 50-50 grad students in that particular course. And like I said before, it was taught this past fall semester. These were the ideas of how our courses would impact students and the industry. I wanted to expose students to the resources shown here in this slide. And really more directly become immersed in the precast prestressed concrete industry. I also want them to participate in PCI conventions, and being a program that's in its infancy, and I'll tell you how this thing is going in a second, would like to have them come to PCI conventions. And I know that Marty has offered some funding for that to happen. But like I said, this still in flux on our side. Just to say that UMass is very, very excited that we got this grant and has been promoted widely in our region. We have Rita organized the regional meeting back in the fall, and there were attendees from producers and industry, and they were very happy to see that it's been promoted quite well. So thank you to the PCI Foundation. Thank you, Marty. I think this is great news for our university. So focusing on what happened this past fall, like I said before, there was a combination, almost 50-50 of undergraduate and graduate students. Our course involved lectures, plant visits, invited speakers, and we did, through the experiential involvement of our students, we also did projects throughout the course. Like I said, it was a whirlwind because it was a brand new course that we had never taught. So I developed a good portion of it over the last summer. The Much of the ingredients of the course involves design of real structures, precast structures, and I'll show you a couple in the next few slides. And finally, the course project was the big beam design, which we are still, so the design has finished, but we intend the students to continue that this semester outside of the course, and there's enough interest that that's going to happen this spring, even though it's outside of the course itself. Early in the semester, the second week in the semester, we went to Unistress, the producer who is closest to us, and this is just a picture after a visit at Unistress, where students were taken on a tour, a plant tour, but also they were given presentations by Rita, but also Alan Lebian, the chief operating officer at Unistress, and their design engineer on how the precast world works. Then they were taken on the right-hand side on a tour. They were watching a panel, and the person on the orange vest is one of the, I think he's the chief, I guess, involved in production, I guess. And so he was given, students were broken into smaller teams where they were able to ask questions directly without having to walk around in large teams. Another part of the course involved, going as simple as this may seem. We have what looks there on the left, and I apologize to those architects in the room still that that's not a very attractive structure, but that's an expression of brutalist concrete. It's a big thing here at UMass and the Northeast, and UMass Dartmouth in particular, where I got a hold of the drawings, and you can see that that building is a combination of precast and casting place concrete. But the idea was to show students physically how things were put together in a parking garage. Like I said, I got my hands on the drawings. So I just noticed that this garage was built in the 1970s, and you can see that it used single T's as a main structural system. So one of the exam questions was, you're a design engineer, and you're being asked to rate this structure and see for how much live load it's good. So using PCI resources that are online, dig up through the PCI design handbook what the load tables are and start doing your calculations. So they had to dig and found that this is I think it's called the YT, from TY Lean, that I think developed that T section, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of interesting to see that historical resources students get their hands on and can compute or do some calculations. And that's them. We went for a short class visit in one of the times. This was before winter, as you can see from our student in the center who's still wearing shorts. And what we used throughout the semester was a parking garage that was provided to us, drawings from a real parking garage that was constructed in Waltham, Massachusetts, from our professional participant in the course. And I just pulled elements from this parking garage and asked students to design components throughout the semester. They designed double T's and inverted T's. We unfortunately didn't get to very deep into columns or walls, but I plan to do that in the next offering of this course. And they were also exposed to commercial software generously provided by Ericsson Industries. So we have a whole suite of software from them that I intend to use for this class and the bridge class next fall. Licenses were provided to students to install in their individual machines. So that was very, very helpful to them. And finally, I think the last component in our course, this fall course, was the current big beam competition. So 6 students were formed. The judging panel included myself, Rita Saradarian, Chuck Pisano, our professional engineer who's part of this group, and a regional producer. The idea was to select the top 2 beams the top 2 teams for fabrication of their beams and testing. That's going to happen, like I said, in the spring. And there's Chuck on the left giving a class presentation on the business of designing precast earlier or last semester. So students, I mean, he's writing sketches on how you tilt up a wall or something like that. And on the right-hand side, you see students during the judging of their beam designs. Judging was done both in person and virtually. So we had both in person and virtual participants judging their designs. So I believe that's it. Looking forward, like I said, our studio is in its infancy. but it went very well, I believe, last semester, and there's only opportunities for improvement.
I love seeing all the pictures of the PCI hard hats.
just in time. So no, that's great. I mean, I told them, put your hard hats on for your the judging event, because we need to show that you have them.